Hello dear friends and welcome to my channel. My name is Marianna and we keep talking about world after COVID-19. What kind of changes will take place in different aspects of our life? Today my guest is member of German Parliament Mr.Torsten Herbst. Hello Mr. Torsten, thank you for joining us.
Hello, my name is Torsten Herbst. I'm a member of the German National Parliament since 2017 for the Free Democratic Party, FDP. FDP is the Liberal Party in Germany. I come from southeastern federal state of Germany, from Saxony. I live in the city of Dresden and I served for 10 years also as state legislator in Saxony.
I also know that you visited Armenia. Please tell me about this.
I had the opportunity to travel to Armenia last year, and I took part in a seminar that was organized by the Friedrich Naumann Foundation, which is a liberal foundation who brought together people from Armenia and from Germany to learn on campaign techniques. And this was very interesting, not only the seminar but also the impression of Armenia. Unfortunately, it was a very short stay, so I have to come back to Armenia. The question is, how will COVID-19 change the world? And of course, this is maybe the toughest challenge we see in my generation, how the world is changing. It affects all fields of personal life, of business, of democracy. And the question is, what are the positive effects of this and what are things that are negative, but we can learn for the next time of a pandemic. And we don't know what happens in the next years. Will we see another pandemic, or what kind of progress do we make to fight this pandemic?
Traveling is my big passion, so I'm very interested how this process will be reorganized again and how it will become safe to travel.
So for me, I'm a member on the Committee for Public Transport and Digital Infrastructure. It's one policy field that's hugely affected by COVID-19 because people cannot travel abroad. We see less demand on public transport systems, and that's not only a question for industry, for companies, for revenues. I think you have to see it in a broader perspective, because not traveling meaning you cannot meet people, there's no exchange of students, there's no business collaboration. So to find a way to establish a way to travel in a very safe way, that's one of the challenges we have, and I believe we cannot shut down or lock down our transport industry for months or even longer. So we have to re-establish trust, and we have to look also what's happening in metropolitan areas. Here in the city of Berlin are living about 3 million inhabitants, and of course they are not keen to board an overcrowded train, but if everybody wants to go by car, that's also a problem because we see a congested city. So that's one of the challenges we will have to solve in the future. How do we find a way to establish a safe way of public mass transport?
Thank you, Mr. Herbst, and I'm also very curious to know your thoughts about new fashion working from home and also changes in educational system.
So a second area that is affected, of course, it's the way we work. In Germany in the past, it was only for a few people possible to work from home. Now it has changed completely. In the months in March and April, we have seen many people suddenly had to work from home, and we have a lot of obstacles. It starts with high-speed internet access, especially in the rural areas in Germany. I think we have seen it works that you can work from home, but you need to have the proper equipment, and of course you need to have internet access everywhere and mobile coverage in a good quality everywhere, and there's still in Germany a lot to do. I'm also concerned what happens with education, especially if you look at schools. With universities, it's much more easy to teach students through video conference system. But with schools, it's very different. And we were completely ill-prepared in Germany to cope with such a situation. We had a lack of technical equipment, but also of qualification of our teachers, how to deal with students from a distance. And I believe there will be some kind of blended learning in the future, some teaching and learning in the classroom, but also use of digital tools. And we have to gear up in Germany how we can establish a way to have a better digital education.
What about democracy and human rights? What kind of changes will take place in these aspects?
The last point I would like to refer to is democracy, because we have seen as parliamentarians for weeks that the power has shifted almost completely to government, or to governments worldwide. It's not only in Germany the case, that governments decide, sometimes only ministers decide. And I believe in a healthy democracy we need a balance of power between the executive branch and the legislative branch, and Parliament should take major decisions, especially when it comes to restrictions of civil liberties. And I hope we will restore this kind of awareness after the height of the crisis. So to end with a positive outlook, which is not so easy, I hope we overcome the economic difficulties which will affect all our countries for the next months. I hope we will learn a way how we can establish a life that is as normal as possible during a pandemic. And we don't know what's happening in the next years. There can always occur a new pandemic. So we have to find a way to live with it. I think we see a lot of countries in Asia like Taiwan who have some experience in that, and we need to prepare much better, especially our health sector. And I believe we need to protect democracy. That is the fundamental point, I think, in all our societies, that democracy can work, and we do not see some strange development that lead to very strong leaders, but to bypass normal democratic procedures. Thanks for getting the opportunity to share some of my ideas, and best wishes to Armenia.
Thank you very much for this interesting interview. My guest was Member of German Parliament, Mr. Torsten Herbst. Thank you for watching us, and see you soon.